Good morning, everybody. Ace Trades, Friday, June 5th. The Bible says in the book of John, chapter 5, verse 24, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word, and believeth on him that sent me, hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. See, before you believe on Jesus, you are in a spiritual state of death. But once you trust in him, then you pass from death unto life. On the chart today, we've got a big sell-off overnight. I'm just kind of bouncing around here. I don't really see any clean structures to even talk about, so you just got to wait for that to develop. NQ is a little bit different. I mean, it kind of has the same movement, except you get this big sell-off and you get one leg, two legs. So, you know, just something you want to keep in the back of your mind. This may head down for a second leg. This could be two legs of correction against a uh, second leg that wants to move down. But that's a huge move. How many points is that? 550 points. Anyway, we'll be back when there is more to talk about. All right, so ES, we got this nice trend going down here. It's a little kind of choppy as we head down, but it's very weak. So I'd say if you can get two legs of correction there, that'd be something you could trade. And then NQ is also very weak, and oh, don't want to do that. Not too far away from this measured move now. It's also moving in a very kind of tight downtrend. So, depending on how you draw that thing, it's a little quirky because it's more like a shallow waterfall. But maybe something in there like that you could draw still fits okay. So, watching those two. All right, so we had you got this little break here, and then it just gets kind of choppy in here. Let me zoom this up. To visually, this little lower high looks tempting because, it looks like you have first attempt, or I'm sorry, uptrend, first attempt, second attempt, and it looks like this is collapsing, but this is just all sideways here, so I didn't really want to enter that. Um, and then NQ, this is kind of sideways too. You get, um, pushes up. You get this. This closes really low though. Like I said, you prefer to get back in here on those. It's kind of right into this swing. You can see it doesn't go very far and then it bounces again. But of course, you would expect this downtrend to retest, but it just these you didn't really get anything very clean here on either market to enter. It just gave you a bunch of chop as prices were trying to correct. So anyway, now you're pushing to a new low, but it's so bearish that I would say this is an instance where if you get a couple clean legs back, I think it's probably headed for this measure move. I mean, nothing's a guarantee, but you can see how strong then this pushes back down. So I would say if you got a couple of clean legs, you may be getting like this pushing down here in the fashion of like one strong leg correction, another strong leg, or it could just run right down. But it's a little bit more once you get the break in the new low, it's a little more risky then. But sometimes when you get a really strong market, it's just gonna keep going down. So that's just something as you're more get more advanced in your trading and you're able to recognize that whenever you feel comfortable with it. But the best rule of thumb is once you get a break new low, then you want to be very careful, continue to take trades in the same direction. But this looks very strong. Um, so I would think a correction here that's very clear is probably okay to continue taking a short at this point. Probably same thing here. All right, so now when you see price do this and just rapidly rip back up after you've got your break and a new low, then me personally, I'm just going to sit tight until something else develops. If this continues to rip higher, then might be I might start looking for a long then, but I'm not certain that this isn't going to want to push down yet still. However, it's too strong for me to want to take a short knowing that this is already broken and made a new low. So I'm just sitting and watching at this point. Okay, I just drew this. Let's see what happens here. If this keeps plummeting down, um, then we maybe think about this as something that's valid. We could even cut this a little bit here, maybe. Um, but if this keeps pushing up, then I would probably think that this just happens by coincidence to be something that appears to fit. I may even take a look at that on a larger time frame too. Okay, so this is, this looks reasonable on the 6K chart, this downtrend. Um, I'll go back and check and see where I have, on the 6K, we're just running into the EMA. So it may very well be that, this is going to push down a little bit further. This structure on the higher time frame has not broken and retested yet. So that may occur yet. Okay, so I just noticed, maybe I think I drew this on the NQ chart, but it wasn't as obvious on ES. But if you do draw this huge move down and then paste your measured move there, we do actually hit the measured move from that whole move down from yesterday. So that kind of makes sense that why prices would try to reverse there. But it looks like even though this trend here, this may be the two-legged break, and this may be attempting a new low at this time. So anyway, I didn't see anything here. I was still kind of bashful about thinking long, but nothing really sets up anyway, just because of this whole move down. So you do get this trend up break, second leg up. So, um, if something would set up to the downside here, I think you might be okay taking that because this move is on the, shorter term picture. This move is played out. So I'll be looking for to see if we can get a short here if it would set up. NQ is a little. Once it got down here and started doing this choppy stuff, I kind of stopped, uh, just paying close attention to it because I knew I wasn't going to take a trade. But now you've got, a couple legs up here. There's a lower high here, but I don't like that it closed higher. But nothing's going to be perfect sometimes. But I really wasn't paying too much attention to NQ because I was watching ES a little bit more closely. I do have it up on the other screen, but really, I mean, if you're, I don't know how to explain it, but I wasn't focused so much on NQ at the time. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Just waiting for price to tell me which way it wants to move here. See if I can get a trade with it. All right, so right now I'm watching just there's nothing here from a standpoint of a trade. You get this push up, push down a new low, but I'm kind of watching this to see if this holds here or not. And it doesn't really look like there's anything off the top, so it may just be a coincidence of if you're trying hard enough, you can connect any 3 points to start. But let's see what happens in this area here. I also had a line here to see if we shot way down here and then got some kind of reaction off this level with lots of room to the EMA. I would think a higher low would be good there off these two legs down, but we'll just wait and see. And NQ is kind of doing the same thing. It's pushing for a second leg down. Here, we'll just flip over there real quick. So you got this move, and then you got this move down. I don't know if I get a second leg here, would I take something there? I have to think about it. I haven't really uh, watched that too closely. All right, when you see, stuff like this, prices start to do this, don't get trapped trying to take trades in here anywhere. Just wait for this all to go away and clear up, and prices will eventually either start going down or they'll start going up. Just people try to you know, manufacture second entries in here and whatever. That you're basically inside all this price action. So you don't really have any idea what's going to happen there. So just sit tight. All right, so we broke out of this congestion. I said just wait for price to tell you what it's going to do. And then you got this downtrend break, just got this massive bar right back into the lows. So this is now broken, made a new low. So we got to be careful about shorts. Just wait, see what prices are going to do. NQ, kind of the same thing here. Almost hitting this measured move now, about 20 points away. Also has a downtrend break, new low. There's nothing to get in here. It's just a, leg back, chop sideways, massive bar down into the lows. Um, and then it looks like you came back maybe to test this previous low level on a wick right there. But this is broken, made a new low also. So now you have to be careful of uh continuing to short. There's a second entry right here. I'm going to skip it just because of the fact that this broke and made a new low. It's not saying patterns won't win sometimes. Obviously you're getting something there at least, but I'm just sticking with my rules. I know that I've said that where were we? Up here? Or was that NQ? That's oh, right in here. After this broke and made a new low. Um, I said about if you get two legs back here, that probably be okay because of how strong this is. Um, but now you're back down here. You just eclipsed the low before, so prices are going to try to come back and test this. If this was a break, if this was off originally off the break of this trend, I'd be more inclined to take a trade here. But because this has broken and made a new low, despite how nice that looks, you can often get trapped there on those. So who knows? Maybe this will end up being a lower high, but um, you know, maybe end up getting trapped there. I would just be concerned about it because I would look at this as a level that prices have obviously. Here's the other thing. Um, on a big picture downtrend, break, and sometimes I talk about how sometimes it's not super clean and clear how prices are going to get to these retests. Sometimes it's real nice, like one leg, two legs, and then boom, goes down. Sometimes it chops around a while, and then it retests. So now that you've retested this low off this sideways stuff that's taken, and sometimes this stuff will, like I say, it'll lull you to sleep because this was 10 o'clock, and now we're pushing an hour and a half later, and that's how long it took for this massive structure to retest. When you get these more near-term structures, they'll usually retest fairly quickly. But when you get big structures, because they take so long to form, they're going to take longer to play out too. And so you see that play out. And so this is not, I mean, the pattern looks pretty nice, but the context is not good for you because this structure is broken and made a new low. This structure is broken and made a new low. So chances are prices are going to attempt to go the other way. And so that's what it's doing here. Now, if you go for your 4 ticks or whatever, and I'm not against going for smaller targets depending on, but I say that often because that mindset of I just need 4 ticks will often cause you to take trades that aren't necessarily the best setups because in your mind you're just going for 4 ticks, and so um, rather than thinking, can is this likely to push down here? How likely is this trade to push down lower, not just grab me 4 ticks, because it won't always get 4 ticks. Sometimes it'll just get one, two, three, and then it'll do this and stop you out. So anyway, I say all that to because it's not really the knock on going for 4 ticks. If that's what you've determined that you want to go for as your profit target, great. But don't let it be a mindset that causes you to take bad trades because you're just expecting that prices will, they'll just go 4 ticks. Even if this is gonna go the other way, well, I should be able to get 4 ticks. So that's the whole my whole purpose of repeating about the 4 ticks because it becomes a mindset that negatively affects how you enter trades. All right, so it looks like to me now, after this is played out, it looks like you had basically on a small picture, you've got one attempt at the new high, second attempt at the new high, makes the new high, but because it's so bearish, pushes down then. But that's really, I mean, that's something you kind of see after the fact. It's very hard to, I think, see that in real time. Um, but now that this is all played out, now you've got another move down that I think you can play, looking for an entry. So, this is tried, this is pushed down, made a new low. Then we tried to reverse, and now clearly this looks like this is creating its own new short-term trend that I think we can get something off of. Thank you. Thank you. Kind of doing the same thing now. It's uh, a little more, not as strong, but clearly we're moving down. Probably view that as breaking, making a new low, trying to reverse here twice and making a double top and pushing back down. Um, we hit this measured move. It's a very, very large measured move. So when you get those smaller ones, prices will come back and will often come back and retest those levels, but I don't think it's going to come back all the way back up here on a correction to retest. It may come back later, but I think this will probably play out first before prices try to come up there and test that. You can see it tried to hold that level and couldn't push through. So I will be watching these trends on these markets to see if we can get something. All right, so fortunately no setup off this break. I was looking for second leg here, just too weak, pushes down, but I don't like to take trades right into the lows, even if you assume that it's going to push through. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it'll just go down here and um, keep going, or reverse, stop you out, or finish this second leg back. And I don't really try to change that perspective based on the strength of the market. Like I'm not looking at this and saying, oh, we're down 115 points today. So it's okay to take this into the lows now because obviously it's going to push through. I just try to stick to the stick to the rules. And if my rules are that I don't take trades into the lows of the move or the highs of the move, I give myself room regardless of how I perceive the market to be moving. That's just part of my rule structure that I have. So I don't really deviate from that. Um, so I'm not going to say, well, this one's okay because the market is so bearish today. You can go ahead and take that one. I don't really change. I think it's important, especially when you're starting out and you're trying to get to profitability, um, to be as rigid in your rules as you can. And so you create these these rules to protect you. Um, and you want to stick to them because if you start adjusting them on the fly, saying, "Well, I'm going to try this one, I'm going to try that one. This looks like this is going to push to a new high or a new low," then you're deviating from your rules base that you're following, and you're just kind of ad hocing along the way, and I think that's why a lot of uh, people following this type of trading struggle because there's a lot of deviation from the basic principles and tenets of the strategy that you're trying to follow. Um, so, and I'm going to do a quick little video. I think maybe after this one, after the trading's done, or tomorrow, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about because the Pat's video yesterday is there's just examples at the beginning of there's deviations from the rules that are set in place. And so that's why I think people struggle is because they'll try to um, what am I going to say? They'll try to ad hoc along the way like they're actually being taught. There's things that are being said, there's things that are written in whatever the manual, and then there's things that you're actually additionally taught in the video, right? Like somebody this one here, what I was talking about, you just got to be careful. This is played out. You just follow, if you follow you're going to miss some. Like sometimes this will go down from here, and maybe people got 4 ticks there or something. But if you adhere to these rules, you're going to save yourself a lot of losses. You're going to take less trades, but you're going to save yourself a lot of losses because you're starting when this breaks makes new low. If there's a second entry, you are um, you're entering a trade that has less probability associated with it. So this may have gotten to a point or something, but then it stops people out if you're going for your 6 ticks or I don't know how much this got. I'm not gonna look. Um, Same thing here. Even though I say you got a nice strong trend down here afterwards, you are taking on probably a less of a probabilistic setup when you take 2 legs back off this because this trend has broken and made a new low. So prices will try to reverse, and that's what they do here. There's one more push down, but then they temporarily reverse, even though the market's very weak. So um, yeah, you're always taking on more risk when you are trying to take additional entries in the same direction as a played out trend. So the best thing to do is if you observe that the trend plays out, as you're learning, as you're trying to build your skill, just stay out of anything else that you see until you get a play out in the other direction. So once this plays out, now you're good to look for setups in the other direction when you get trends in the other direction, um, and so forth. But if you're getting whipsaws back and forth like this and trends are not playing out, then you may want to take a step back and maybe something else is going on. In this instance, I believe that what is happening here is um, you have this larger structure that what it's doing is making one attempt, and then this whole thing is the second attempt at a new low. So within there, the smaller trends are not necessarily playing out themselves. You might argue there's 1 leg, 2 legs here. You might argue that, this, you could draw something up here like this. And then you say, well, there is a break in a new high, kind of in 1 or 2 bars there. Okay, and that would lead you to not, want to, even if you got some sort of setup here, not want to take a trade. Also, you're very close to these highs where prices sold off before, so you'd be aware of that. But yeah, so these will trap you sometimes when you get these nice setups that are um, that are kind of typical. Like if this was just the trend down, and then you got these 2 legs off of something reversing off a play out to the upside, Like if this sort of setup happens here, then you're probably good taking that. Um, but in this instance, you're already played out. I mean, I've explained all that. So, um, yeah, I guess that's it for now. NQ is just kind of being very choppy right now, so I'm not even going to flip over there. I can just see it on the other screen. And same thing here. Now this is pushed down to a new low, and then of course reverses or is attempting to reverse. You may just get this sort of action all day if it's uh, this bearish and the institutions are trying to just sell it all day. You may get very weak attempts to reverse, and then it pushes down. But you just have to keep watching, um, you know, for your structures and where you can take trades. All right, so we've got um, ES. Looks like we potentially have wider downtrend here working. You can see all these every time we break, make a new low and try to reverse. It just keeps creeping lower. Here's another one, new low, tries to push up, gets in this area, pushes down again, um, pushing down again. So keep an eye on this. On a bigger picture, might even be a little bit tighter. And then I think NQ is something kind of similar, not as nice in my opinion. Looking at a lot of gaps here, but it's still kind of doing the same thing, still same idea. Prices just keep pushing down. So just keep watching that and seeing if there's some sort of structure within this that gives us an opportunity to get a trade. All right, stepped away for a little bit, but there's really nothing here. As this trend broke, you really don't get anything to get in with this perceived attempt to retest. You can see there is like a trend here. Um, and then what I was waiting for is for this to play out and give me something, because I am, of course, expecting, this is so large, I'm expecting for this to try to play out. But I want this to work itself out first. And so, you get this first push down, there's really nowhere to get in. It doesn't even give you a lower high or anything good. And then you get the second leg. So this may be attempting here the second attempt for a new low off this big break, and you can see that on the 6K chart. It makes more sense there. First attempt. Here's the second attempt. Um, but of course, I'm not going to. Um, uh, let's go back over here. I still want a lower high off this level. I mean, if you see, if you just want to short the measured move, that's something that's up to you. That's not really typically how I do stuff, unless it's a clear small picture, two-legged break of some sort. But I don't. It's the larger the structures that you're trading, the harder it is to um, enter on the end of those moves, because you're just not certain if that's going to be the actual end of the move, or maybe this, you know, because of how large the structure is, this could play around here a little bit. Maybe it, you know, ticks up, stops you out. So I would just wait on the lower high there. Don't get it. But now that you got these basically two legs, and looking at this as a second attempt, if we can get some kind of push down with a couple legs of correction here, I'd be okay. As this structure attempts to retest, I'd be okay with getting in with this smaller structure also if it breaks, attempting to retest. So that's what I'll be looking for there. And then NQ is just it's just kind of haphazard. I mean, it overshoots this trend line we have drawn, and then I really don't see anything here that you'd want to try to get in. Um, even as this pushes up and makes two legs up, it doesn't really give you anything here. So NQ's gotten a little bit kind of squirrely with the price movements at the swing points. You can see a lot of overlap where you're getting the swings at, and so it's kind of difficult. Or you still, even though you're trading NQ, you still want to see the clean legs, and you know sometimes NQ doesn't print as cleanly. So uh, just keep watching here. All right, so get this pushed down, and we looks like we're going to get a second leg here, but the EMA just holds price down. So again, we get nothing here on our setup that we're looking for off this move down. And now if this would like hold here and bounce, I don't think I'd even want to try to take another short because of the support across here. It's not, I mean, it's small, but my guess would be that this is just going to kind of push down here though, but we'll see. NQ, there's not really, it's just choppy right here, so nothing there either. I just want to point something out. Now, not great context, but when you're looking for a triple test, this is the kind of thing that you're looking for. Prices test something in, pretty close succession. 1, 2, 3. Again, I wouldn't take that because you have this pressure down and you're still expecting a new low, and you're right into the EMA there. But that's what you're looking for if you're looking for a triple test. Or something like this. If this would move up and you get selling come in here, selling come in here, pushes down, pushes up one more time, and selling come in here. Okay, so that would be an uptrend with one attempt, two attempts, and then you have, prices testing this area. Basically, it's testing it two more times after it gets established. And then if you see selling come in, especially in this context when you're expecting this downtrend to make a new low, that would be a good triple test there. What's not a triple test? This is not a triple test right here. So somebody would, I think I had this here, right? Because that's the low. So I'm sure people got burned on this right here because what happened? I don't know what happened to my channel there. Right. So we had this, right? Break new low, and I said in real time, right? Because that's what's important, doing it in real time, not hindsight. I didn't like that here because of this break new low, and I think also prices, pushing down. Also in the bigger picture, this trend over here that you see these lines, this also made a new low. So now this is less of a probability because prices after channels play out, meaning they retest their extreme after they break the structure, they're less inclined to continue going. It happens sometimes, but it's less of a probability. So I'm sure somebody saw this here, like, okay, this is not, prices wicking into an area like this, this little thing here, this is still part of this move down. So this is not like, you're looking for like areas of resistance that or support in close succession. I wouldn't consider this this establishing an area of resistance. This is just a lower high for this move down. And then so somebody will probably look at this and go 1, 2, 3, triple test also, but it's not. It's not really what a triple test is. This is just prices wicking into this area, and it's not really an area. You're not seeing prices like close into it in close succession. So that's what they're taught on the Pats channel. They'll see these goofy, weird, very spread out triple tests, and the price will happen to move away from there, and then some trade will get marked, and so they will, then try to do that in real time and get stomped because it's not a real thing. So when you're looking for these triple tests, you're looking for them in areas where you would expect prices to find support, find resistance potentially. Like if prices here, let's say this is a established high and prices push up, and then you see them sell off again, they push up, and then you see like a bar like this come in the same area. That would be like that would be a triple test, and you would may consider that for a short trade. These like weird spread out triple tests are not, they're not like that's not a strong area of resistance to prices. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. Lots of instruction today. Quite probably going to be my longest video. We're still only 2 hours away, and there's been a lot of price action today. So anyway, I hope people are. I know the watch times on these videos. It seems like I don't know what people do if they just click on them and then click off or what, but the average watch time is like 5, 6 minutes. But I know some people are watching it, all the way through. I can see those analytics too. So I hope those people that do that are getting some good things on days like this where I get to talk more about the structures and what price is doing. Okay, so we can see looking at this downtrend, this huge downtrend, two-legged break, and now it's pushing down to a new low. On a smaller picture though, this is a pretty strong downtrend. So I think if you would get a couple of legs of correction here, um, you could look for this to retest. So I'll be watching this. Uh, NQ is basically doing the same thing as well. All right, same kind of deal here with this break. You might already count this as a retest. It probably looks like it actually closes lower than the original. And then your second attempt here, you can't even get back. It's trying to push down again. So, um, I'm not taking any more shorts here. This is just behaving strangely. You'd be looking for two nice clean legs of correction. This is becoming anything but clean now. NQ is kind of doing the same thing, just sideways congestion for the moment. All right, let's kind of go over. I think we were maybe in this area. We got this downtrend. You can see the break here. This is basically two legs, but it's so choppy you can't do anything down, and then it just kind of rolls over. There's nothing you can get in here. I know some people will say, "Oh, just short any red bar there if you understand what's going on." Well, I don't understand what's going on, so I don't short any red bar. Um, and now you're just kind of swinging around. There's not any clean structures to trade. Um, not the downtrend break. You get a lower high, but that's right into it's very far down here into the lows. Tries to sell up once, twice, pushing back down. Now you've got two legs down here. I just would not. I mean, you got two legs down, and often I'll say, depending on if it's not like a crazy sell off like today, I'd be looking for maybe a higher low here. But this is just too bearish to be. You just want to wait for prices to reset and look for shorts. It's just down all day. So this is looking for higher lows and lower highs and such is kind of more in line with when prices aren't ripping in one direction or another, um, and you're just kind of back and forth. But this is it's down all day today, and just any little push up just gets sold again. NQ, same kind of thing. I'm not sure why that's doing double bars there. Let's see if we get a reset. It's not what it looks like on my other screen. There we go. So I was kind of looking for something up here because you had this real strong downtrend, but then it kind of rolled over into this one, and I was looking for maybe two legs up with a nice bar, and you just don't get anything. You get this green bar that sells off, a couple sideways bars, and now you're just right into the EMA again, and a bunch of chop sideways, pushing down. So I'm just going to keep looking for this thing. Just keeps resetting and selling again. So I'm just going to keep looking for trades. It's crazy. 50 minutes to close, all the activity today, and I didn't really see, too much that I liked. I'm not going to go over the whole chart again. That would just add a lot of time to, and already probably not going to be my longest video. So we're getting another downtrend here, and we'll see if we can get, a short. All right, such a strange day for when it comes to trying to get entries. You get one leg, You get a second leg up and then just goes sideways here. And now price is trying to push up. So first attempt, second attempt failed. Looks like we're trying to go higher here for the time being. So again, got nothing there. NQ kind of the same thing. You get this big downtrend, first leg, second leg, and you get basically this is your signal bar, so you can't take anything. And then there's your inside bar. So I just don't feel comfortable taking that with a bunch of stem on it right after a green bar. So, now these are 10-point intervals. So if you took something like that and went for a small target, you probably got something there. But yeah, I mean, so bearish, I'd probably just be waiting for some move to the upside to just play out and look for another short attempt. All right, it's about 2 minutes till. Didn't get anything again today. Got shut out this week. Um, Lots of activity today, but just didn't get things to set up for me anywhere how I wanted to. There are lots of few different areas where we're looking for stuff. Here's downtrend break, one leg, two legs, but then you just don't get anything. And let's see. This is no good. Nothing in here. Here's it. Downtrend break, just congestion, and then it dumps. The only place where you might have risked something was here. I mean, this is bigger picture kind of stuff. You've got two measured moves. Confluence was looking for a lower high here, didn't get it. There is a lower high here at the end of the day, but it's kind of tiny, and I have it blocked by this uptrend, so I didn't take it. I want to short into that uptrend and have prices, keep going higher there. So that just didn't work out. Let's see. Um, Sorry, I had an interruption there. So you got basically two measured legs of confluence. At first, you probably would be looking at something like this from here. You still kind of get there. So that's an aggressive one there because, again, you're taking a move into the high, and you just never know where these are going to end. Like, here's one here. That looks like maybe that's an end of a move, but it ticks in and pushes up. So that's why most of the time you're going to see me wait on a lower high, and oftentimes they won't come. But that would have been a spot there where you're looking for a lower high. Um, here bad context probably traps some people. Um, let's see. This is like two legs up here, but there's nothing there. Um, you're it's not getting anything. This was the only other place where I like thought about entering, but then just because all this congestion, who knows if this is going to be a little range here and tick you in and then go back up. So yeah, there's not, I mean, there's not a whole lot. Even with all the activity, you just don't get too much to work with. Even here, I was looking for something. If this would have just closed below the EMA with this big downtrend in play, would have taken that. Don't get it. So yeah, just didn't. When you got to the areas where you were looking for entries, just didn't set up very well for me. And then NQ, um, yeah, same thing, downtrend, two-legged break, and you get a inside bar. Um, Here's another one, downtrend, two-legged break. You don't get anything here. Just you get this, weak bearish bar, and then it just chops. And then are you going to guess on which one of these is going to be, if you'd have guessed there and got ticked in, I'm not sure, depending on what happened there, you may have gotten stopped out before that push down there. I don't remember. Um, it's just a lot of chop, not a lot of, when you get to the swings, it's not good bars, or, here is like two leg, but then you're overshooting this trend, so you wouldn't want to take that. Um, I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot here, despite all, you would think, oh, with all this, um, this is a risky lower high here, because that might be one you consider. But typically, what I say is I like three bars that are, I'd like that to be red, I'd like that to be red, I'd like that also to be red. But I mean, It's very picky, honestly. Here's two legs here. This is kind of congested, and you'd have to short right into this swing. Just glancing over the chart, I just really don't see a whole lot, and it's not worth attempting any longs today when you're getting this type of activity. So, yeah, but there was some discussion on certain areas today, and I hope that those were a help to you. And um, I'll just see you Monday then. Have a good weekend.